Heat and what their potential moves they can make in the off season. Let's go for it. So we're making a lot of videos here, covering the off season, talking a lot of basketball, talking a lot about potential trades, free agency, the NBA draft when it comes up. So feel free to subscribe to the channel, enter the chat. We can have a discussion about Heat or other playoff teams that we'll be discussing later tonight, and kind of go from there. But again, subscribe to the channel, comment, like, all those fun things. Let's get into the Heat. Jimmy Butler and this squad last year from Miami, it was a little bit of a underachieving year. If you use last year's, kind of where they ended the year before as kind of a measuring stick, this Heat team obviously loses the Lakers in the bubble, in the finals, and this next year they kind of struggled. Jimmy Butler had injuries to start the year. The whole Tyler Hero hype kind of fell off, and he's definitely somebody that needs to step up. There was a little bit of talks of maybe trying to pursue Kyle Lowry at the trade deadline, and it didn't happen. Ultimately, they get swept in the first round by Milwaukee, and here they are with a old leader in Jimmy Butler, and Bam, who had a little bit of a forgettable series against Milwaukee, and then they have a lot of money, free agents that they can kind of figure out and try to retool as best they can. Victor Oladipo, the trade that they made with the Rockets to be able to acquire him, it didn't go as planned. He's a free agent. I am going to be really interested to see what happens with Victor Oladipo and what team wants to hand him money. I'm actually going to write that down here as one of the things that I want to kind of keep track for the season, because he wasn't great, but I can still maybe see a team trying to say, okay, yeah, let's go get Victor Oladipo and, see what he can provide. So let's kind of talk a little bit more about their cap sheet as we're looking right now at it. Trevor Ariza, Bjelica are unrestricted free agents. They do need to pay Duncan Robinson. They do need to pay Kendrick Nunn. They have the cap space to be able to do it. Obviously, they're going to try to keep their own guys. But the issue is, how much are you going to want to try to pay them while at the same time trying to go big fish hunting and find a star? Lowry, DeRozan, whoever it may be that works with the team, who is it that the Heat are going to try to target? And will it come at the expense of potentially losing Nunn or Robinson? Let's see here. They have the team options on Goran Dragic and Andre Iguodala that is a huge chunk of money. So obviously that that will be a situation to watch as well. Goran Dragic, Iguodala are older veterans. I think they can help playoff teams for sure, but I don't know how much the Heat value them moving forward as a long-term option with both of them aging. So let's, with that being said, let's jump on into their pick situation. They have some picks that are going to Oklahoma City. They have the 2023 pick that, if it's not conveyed, obviously will work. Then 24, 25, 26. Other than that, they don't really have too many bad situations. They probably need a little bit more seconds for the future. They also don't have any draft picks this upcoming season, or this upcoming draft, I should say. And this team just needs help. I can't really, looking at the team as currently constructed, Jimmy, Bam, Hero, Achua, KZ, I don't know if there's anyone on the team that I really consider like super hold on to outside of the two of Bam and Jimmy Butler. So a Hero trade, is that something that could potentially happen? We'll see. I think they're going to try to get Kyle Lowry, but they're in line with New Orleans. They're in line with Dallas. They're in line with Chicago, maybe. There's going to be a lot of teams going after Kyle Lowry, especially seeing what Chris Paul did during the season with the young Phoenix Suns. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Kyle Lowry. I think his free agency, and it just seems so weird because like Kyle Lowry is not like a earth-shattering talent, but his leadership is something that is valuable to some teams. And so where he falls could kind of shift what happens in the NBA landscape as far as kind of the power structure of the NBA. There was early talk of Miami and Kawhi. I think it from what reports say, it sounds like Kawhi is going to go back to the Clippers and will re-up there and miss a majority, if not all, of this next upcoming season. We'll talk about that when we hit the Clippers stream. Again, we are doing lots of streams today covering the rest of the NBA. Tomorrow we'll have a pre-draft stream that will talk a little bit about who we value high, might be a bust. Join us tomorrow for that. Feel free to subscribe, turn notifications on, because we're doing lots of streaming moving forward. So going back to the Heat, I feel like this team needs to find a big player, a big fish in free agency, in a trade. Does Ben Simmons work? Well, let's get into that. So there's been a lot of the first kind of rumor here that I want to discuss is the Ben Simmons to Miami Heat kind of a deal. We've talked about the Heat, the Wizards, the Raptors are possible teams for Ben Simmons to land to. Now, if that happens, what then really is the move for Miami moving forward? Because they would essentially have three dudes that aren't real good shooters. And you got to imagine all three of them are going to be in the starting five. So is that a good fit for Miami? I don't know. Are they going to try to hold and maybe push chips to the table for Damian Lillard, for Bradley Beal? I don't know exactly if they have the ability to go and get Beal or Lillard at all. A team would have to really be high on like Prince Achua and Hero. Maybe there's a sign and trade possibility with like Duncan Robinson as well. Like get some young players and maybe some picks. But I think Miami is a little, because they owe picks to Oklahoma City, I don't know exactly what they can build to be able to package up to get one of those star players that are in Portland, Washington, or Philadelphia. Sam Amick said the Heat are one of the most likely landing spots for Ben Simmons. However, another source is downplaying the likelihood that Simmons is landing in Miami. I don't know if the Heat. I think the Heat would love a star like Simmons, but I don't know if it works with him going there basketball wise. And so that will be, again, very interesting to see what will happen with the Ben Simmons situation there. Does Miami try to make a move? All right, let's see here. Let's move on forward here. Heat will have interest in Kyle Lowry in free agency, but they'll face plenty of competition for the veteran guard, who will have a high asking price. Exactly what we mentioned. Again, Sixers, Lakers, Mavericks. I didn't even mention the Sixers. Lakers, Mavericks, Pelicans, Knicks. All these guys are going to go try to get Kyle Lowry. So you're going to have to outbid. Are you going to have to overpay Lowry to get him to Miami? Is Miami attractive enough for him to take less money? Or, because again, what if the Mavericks offer him a bunch of money, but he also is getting an offer from the Lakers, from Miami, from, the Sixers. Same goes for saying with like New Orleans. Those not as big as brand of teams, like he can go back home to Philadelphia. It's going to be really interesting to see kind of what happens with him, because he will have his choice. Kyle Lowry will have a choice as to, from a good amount of teams that are, have talent and have upside. He'll have his choice at those teams. Dragic is not likely to return on the Heat on his $19 million team option, but the club could have interest in re-signing him at a lower price point. Again, this is probably if they don't bring in Kyle Lowry or other players. Bradley Beal were to request a trade, the Heat are among teams that would appeal to him. So there's, again, Bradley Beal is another guy that is at least interested in the Heat and could provide some help for them. Let's see here. I think a lot of this is still Beal. Here's a report. This is coming from the Sun Sentinel's Ira Winderman. He mentions that the Heat, whether the Heat could bring back former players Josh Richardson, who was in Dallas last year, and Justice Winslow, who was with Memphis in the upcoming summer. Winder believed that there could be more desire with the team to bring back Richardson than Winslow, but if Richardson declines his player option with the Mavericks, it's unlikely the Heat could afford him. Yeah, that would be interesting to see if Miami could maybe bring some of their old players back. That's always interesting to see. I mean, we've seen teams do it before, but super interesting nonetheless. All right, I think we're going to call it on the Heat. Thank you for joining on the stream. The next team we're going to be talking about is the Atlanta Hawks, after which we will talk about the Knicks and then the Dallas Mavericks. We are finishing up today with the second half of the league. All these teams were playoff teams last season, and we're going to be talking about what the offseason holds. We've already talked about some teams. We've already talked about the Warriors, the Lakers. Feel free to watch other videos from the channel that discuss other teams, your favorite team, a team that you're interested in, and we'll kind of go from there. But again, subscribe to the channel, like the video, give it a thumbs up. It looks like we got a thumbs up here, which is awesome. And feel free to join us in the chat. But next team, again, the Atlanta Hawks. Let's move forward with them.